Welcome to Donald Trump's America, where there's some forms of speech that are free and some forms of speech that are not free. This is not about free speech at all. This is about convenient speech, because speech, like the kind of speech that I utilize, is not the kind of speech that Donald Trump wants to be protected. But speech like he does and speech like Charlie Kirk did, that's free speech. So I'm going to exercise my still existent right to free speech right now. Welcome to Sane-ish. I'm Jo Carducci, and today I'm joined by someone whose courage, honesty, and determination set the bar. Harry Dunn isn't just a former Capitol police officer. He stood in the line of fire on January 6th, fighting to protect our democracy against a mob intent on overturning the results of an election. Since that day, Harry's become an outspoken advocate for truth, accountability, and the hard work of defending democracy, even when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, or dangerous. Since that day, Harry's emerged as a powerhouse for truth, accountability, and the work of defending democracy, especially when those in power want you to look the other way. And let's get real. While Republicans are out there trying to rewrite history, pushing the nonsense that political violence is a left-wing phenomenon, Harry's living proof that the story isn't theirs to twist. The facts are the facts. We need courage now, not gaslighting. But before Harry and I get into it, I want to tell you about some of the partners that help make Sane-ish possible. Okay, everybody wants to feel more secure, right? Well, take a minute and Google yourself. I don't mean like that. And see what comes up. I did that a while back, and damn, it was scary what people can find out about you online. That's why I've partnered with Incogni to take control of my online privacy by removing my data from all of those shady people search sites, spam centers, broker databases, etc. Incogni is basically a digital hitman for your data. It hunts down all those shady sites I'm talking about, and poof, your personal info disappears. And you don't have to email anyone, fill out forms, or jump through hoops. They handle the entire data removal process for you. Plus, Incogni doesn't just do that and walk away. They will continue to monitor things. So if your data ever gets put back onto those shady databases, they request removals until the info is removed, keeping your data yours forever. Best of all, you can cancel at any time, and they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can get it completely risk-free. Right now, you can get 60% off an annual plan by going to incogni.com/Jojo and using the code Jojo. That's incogni.com/JOJO and use the code Jojo at checkout. That's JOJO. Live free from dangerous spam by using Incogni. That's incogni.com/Jojo for 60% off their annual plans. Hey guys, guess what? Fall is planting season. That's right. Did you know that many plants and trees actually do better when planted this time of year? But to do it right, you have to know where to start. And that's why I love fastgrowingtrees.com. It doesn't matter if you live in the sunshine all year or if the air is getting chilly where you are, like it did today here in Jersey. Their plant care experts help you find the perfect fit for your space. All kinds of trees, plants, and shrubs. I absolutely love plants. I cannot wait to get my fiddle leaf fig and Norfolk Island pine. I don't have a giant yard. It's like what they call a postage stamp yard, but that's the thing. It doesn't matter. Big yard, small yard, no yard. Fast Growing Trees has over 6,000 plants to fit any space, from indoor plants to fruit trees to full-size privacy trees and more. And with flat earther neighbors like mine, you need all the privacy you can get. And you don't have to drive around to nurseries and big garden centers and choose plants from a limited and sometimes not so good selection. Fast Growing Trees makes it easy to order online, and your plants are delivered to your door in just a few days. This fall, they have the best deals for your yard, up to half off on select plants and other deals. And Sane-ish listeners get 15% off their first purchase when visiting fastgrowingtrees.com/Sane-ish and using the code Sane-ish at checkout. That's 15% off at fastgrowingtrees.com/Sane-ish. That's SANEISH, and then use the code SANEISH at checkout. Now is the perfect time to plant. Use Sane-ish to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply. Check out the link in the show notes and help support the show. Okay, Harry's ready to go now, so let's do this.
Check out I'm drinking out my mug.
Okay, well, my mug is dirty because I drank wine out of it in this office last night. So she's over there. But wait, hold it up again because it is a pretty mug. It's a tiny mug, but it is a pretty mug.
Well, it's tiny in my big hands, but it's normal like in everybody else's hands, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. But it is small for like traditional coffee drinkers. I want to first say, if you look closely, because I'm such a dork, Sam and I spent the better part of 4 months going back and forth over the name and then the logo. And if you look at your mug, the S, I don't know if you see it.
Yes, I see it. I've noticed it.
There's the relief of the mythological siren, right? The lady, the singers. Yes, she's there.
That's right. Yeah.
So we wanted to put that in there because it's the name of the network, which you are now a proud contributor of. I just so fucking excited. But the name of the network is the literal siren, like an alarm siren, but also the sirens that were powerful, mythical women creatures, and some of that feminine energy and that power was something we wanted to summon. But I am very excited because you have yesterday dropped the very first episode of Pores and Perspectives. Welcome to the Siren Network, and welcome to the Sane-ish podcast, which is now going to be hosted on the Siren Network too. Harry, tell me about Pores and Perspectives.
I was so excited to do it, and I'm grateful to be part of the Siren Network, and it's great. But listen, I drink and I talk about politics, so I feel like I could do it with a lot of people that like enjoy mixing those two things together.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that I thought I said to myself when I do this, I have to make sure that I don't turn people into alcoholics, and I'm not, I'm not, downplaying alcoholism. I know it's a very serious disease, but I don't want people to turn to alcohol as a form of coping. But it just so happens that it makes the news a little bit more palatable, going with especially what we're experiencing now in these days in the news. So being able to mix two of the favorite things that I enjoy in this world is good old bourbon, a nice spirit, and talking about my perspective about things. And, I do a lot of ranting to friends, to you. We talk, we text, several other people involved in the Siren Network. And I was like, let me continue to share this with the whole world. And I love being able to bring my perspective, and also bringing on guests that are going to be able to offer theirs, and hopefully asking questions and delve into discussions that lead to more moral clarity and understanding, and a little bit of hope going forward in these crazy times. That's the objective of the show, while obviously enjoying a good spirit or two responsibly.
Mm-hmm. But that is the perfect embodiment of you, right? Because the one thing about you that I have found so refreshing, because we're surrounded by people who don't do this, is you always seem to thread in or lace in this idea of hope. Like it's never as bad as things are and as bleak as things are. And I talked to you on a live event the day that Donald Trump pardoned everyone who partook in January 6th. And it was a dark day. It was a hard day. But even in that, there is always a tinge in what you say that is like inspiring, not disheartened to the point of giving up. And also, like the part of you that is so wonderful is that you're always tapped into your humanity and your connection to other people, genuine connection. Not like every conversation you have with your friends is not about politics. It's just not.
Of course.
Right? Most of the conversations and interactions we have with people, even still, are about other shit. Whether that's bourbon, whether that's groceries, whether that's about sports, whatever it is, like we have to get
real life.
Yeah. And I think sometimes, well, not some, a lot of the times what's happening is that there's a conflation of real life and online life. And I think that that's one of the problems right now, is that people are getting confused between the two things. Like what you say on Twitter is not what happens in real life. And maybe this shooter in Utah, maybe he was conflating what happens online in his Discord chats and his video games, etc. So when you have a conversation that's like, a lot of things that real people talk about, that you talk about with your pals, that you talk about with your family and friends. I think that's really important. I think that's something that's been missing, but that's also just kind of like, it speaks to your heart. This is who you are.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you. But I appreciate that. And one of the things I guess that I pride myself in being is just authentic. Like what you see online is the Harry that you're going to get in person.
That's true.
The Harry you're going to get in all moments of life. It's just be your authentic self. And that way it's easy. And you know what? I don't do it for other people. I do it for me.
Yeah.
So I don't have to remember which mask I need to wear in which setting. I just got the same, this is Harry all the time. When I ran for office, they would say, hey, be careful about the things that you post and things that you say. Like just imagine the cameras on you all the time. But I live my life like that all the time. Like, this is who I am. It's not going to be, aha, we caught Harry, or Harry said, no,
wow.
This is who I am. So just be that person, unapologetically be yourself all the time. And I've seen a quote that says somewhere, it says, be yourself. Everyone else is taken. And I was like, I kind of like that. That's kind of dope. But no, that's what it's about. And you talk about my little bit of hope and everything like that. And it's so great how was Obama's campaign, the message, the motto of hope. And listen, I'm a man of faith. I'm Christian. I believe in God. And it's, you know what? It's fine if people don't, and it's fine if people believe in a different God than me. That's 100% fine. But the thing about my faith is that if once you lose faith and once you lose hope, you don't have anything. So I don't want to ever succumb to carry myself in a manner where I don't have anything to look forward to, any just inkling of hope. As long as there's a chance, I'm going to keep getting up and showing up in the morning. And then obviously when there's no chance, I don't ever see there's never being an opportunity where there's no hope. But you always just keep on fighting and finding what's worth fighting for.
Yeah. I mean, amen to that. And by the way, just to touch on what you said about there's only one Harry. I know that for a fact, right? Like I know, because thank God I've had the privilege and honor and great luck, fortune to have met you many times in person. My kids have met you, as I've talked about in the past. You are larger than life in many ways, but you are one real, genuine, authentic. What you see is what you get. There are not masks to you, and that's one of the most refreshing things about you, but also about everybody. I'll just say at the Siren Network, which is why it's so exciting to me and why Sam Schwartz and I were so geeked out, excited about this, because everybody over there, I feel like you can see their hearts too. And for me, what you see is what you get, because I spent decades, sort of with a figurative and not so figurative hand over my mouth, forcing me to be something I wasn't. And I don't have all that. I don't know how much time I have left to be who I am. So I'm just going to be exactly who I am too. I lost a job because someone said, we just want you to be a little bit less you. And I was like, I can't be a little bit less.
I can't do it.
Right. This is it. I got one shot at this life of mine, and who knows how much time left, so what's the utility in pretending to be somebody else? But about what you were saying about not.
Also, real quick, let me just say, and also you're doing a disservice to yourself.
Yeah.
By not being yourself.
Yeah.
So let alone how much time you got left. I'm doing myself a disservice and everybody else around me if you're not being your authentic self. So
exactly.
Continue to be authentically you.
Yes.
Not just you, Jojo. Obviously, you know that.
Yeah.
But everybody listening, everybody just struggling with some type of identity, be yourself. They'll adjust.
Yeah.
Let everybody else adjust. You be yourself.
Amen. And a really good friend of mine always says, everybody is somebody's asshole. Right? Like, you're going to be somebody's asshole. You can't make everybody happy all the time. And if they don't like you, unless you're being a real dickhead, an intentional dickhead,
well, sure.
You know what? If you know who you are, first of all, that's the greatest journey in the entire world, is learning more and more about yourself every single minute of every day, because we don't have all the answers, or we also change and ebb and flow. But if somebody else wants you to change to accommodate what they expect of you or want you to be, and you know that you're being your true authentic self, and that you're not trying too hard or deviating or putting on a mask, then fuck them. You know what I mean?
Well, yes, I'm glad you said that, because, I learned a lot about how they felt about me after I started speaking out January 6th and everything like that. I lost a lot of friends or people that I thought were friends. People were talking about me behind my back, and people always had this and that to say. But also at the same time, listen, it is a privilege to have access to me, and I'm not saying this as a hero, as people call me. I'm not saying that as a award recipient and as an author, but just the person, me. It is a privilege to have access to me, like, and that's how everybody should carry it. You are worth it. You matter, and like you don't let people around you that are not contributing to you being the best version of yourself. Like, you know what? I cut people off. I don't go back and forth. You're not taking my energy.
Yes.
There's so much other stuff right now. Like you just said, like we said when we first started talking, there's bigger fish to fry right now. And I am giving that my energy. And I'm not giving some BS my energy. Like, whatever, man. I'm not dealing with this. You don't have access to me anymore. So go ahead and talk about me behind my back or whatever. But I won't be a part of it. Do your thing, man.
I fucking love that, and like honestly, and it's so true, and it's so right, and people are like people will say like, "Oh, you're being selfish, Joe, for saying shit like." No, not. I'm not.
Nope.
Everybody knows let them, right? Let them. This Abby and I have this conversation pretty much every day because she's 12.
Yeah.
And 12-year-old girls can be pretty toxic, okay? And so and I was 12 once, and I was the outcast. I was also the smelly kid. That's just a true fact. I was. I don't know if I ever told
Well, you don't smell anymore.
Thank
at
you.
least the times I've been around.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
do I ever self-conscious about it. I was not only was I never picked in square dancing, I was like Jason Grossman was never picked. We were forced to be together all the time because nobody wanted to dance with me because I was the smelly kid. It's just facts. But it's fine. I think being the smelly kid and the fat kid made me a hopefully nicer person, more empathetic, more compassionate, more accepting person. That all said, 12 years old sucks being a teenager, and what Abby often said, what she will cry about and what is so hard to navigate for her is what she's like, I don't know what I did. I don't know why I deserve this. And what I always say to her is don't give them your energy, right? Like, you know who you are. You know your heart. You know the gifts that you bring. You know the compassion that you have. You know the kind of person you have. You're funny. You're smart. You're loving. You're kind. You're creative. You're all these things. Don't let them take that power from you. Don't let them pour out your cup. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, I know that I'm talking about my 12-year-old, but this really does resonate, and it does apply to grown-ups' life in general, right?
Yeah, that's how I noticed, like, to turn it back to politics, that's how I have avoided dealing with the MAGA factions and stuff. I just don't engage with them.
Yeah.
I haven't posted on Twitter since the election, since Kamala lost the election. I don't post over there anymore. I don't engage over there anymore. It's just a really toxic cesspool.
Yeah.
And, and I'm not giving that place my energy. It's toxic as hell over there.
Yeah.
And now, listen, a lot of people will, sometimes the counter argument to that is, well, you're putting yourself in an echo chamber. No, I'm not even doing that either, because my message is my message, no matter who is listening. But they don't deserve, when I say they, people that attack you, people that criticize you in a hateful way. Now, listen, I'm not above criticism but people know, we know what's the difference between somebody attacking you and somebody actually wanting to give you to be better.
Yeah.
And we know what the difference between that is. So
yeah.
Anybody listening, just make sure that you're surrounding yourself. And I'm not talking about yes men and people but I'm talking about people that actually try to radiate positivity and support you being the best version of yourself. Anybody else, they are stunting your growth, and they shouldn't have access to you.
Agreed. One of the other contributors on the Siren is my friend Jill, and Jill Jonathan. Yeah. Jill's a good person. Like, she's just all the people in the Siren are good people. And one of the things that Jill kind of taught me was she kind of paints this picture. And we will talk about politics too, but it all fits together. She's like, you're protecting a candle. Like, your candle has a flame, and you want people in your life who protect that flame with you, and not people who blow it out. You know what I mean? And we all know those people, right? There are people who will be jealous. There are people who want to come after you because, you're using your voice in a way that they don't feel empowered to. There's all sorts of motivations for people, none of which are good. But you need to surround yourself with people who see that light and see that flickering flame, and they want to protect it with you. You know what I mean? Like, I know this
That's
is
what it's
spiritual
about.
kumbaya thing, but like for real. And now, right now, in this moment, and this is a good pivot. Right now, in this moment, when what we're up against, what we're engaged in, what is relentless, right? Which is so much hate, so much anger, so much viciousness, so much anti-democratic speech, so much the violence, and the gaslighting. Now more than ever, we need to surround ourselves with people who protect those candles, who protect that flame.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But at the same time, Joe, there has to be somebody who's capable, or people who are capable of engaging individuals that are open to seeing things a different way. Because we don't want to just keep on going back and forth, our turn, their turn, our turn, their turn, like no. And I feel like puts a lot of people off about politics. So, obviously Republicans are in control now, then it's going to be the Democrats' turn, if we continue to show up. And but the back and forth, we need to get people that are willing to engage with the other side. I'm not. I know what I'm capable of, and I know that I don't have that in me. But there are people that are. There are people that are blessed with the ability to go in there and talk to people and persuade people and to listen objectively. I'm not. I'm not. I understand my strengths. I understand my weaknesses.
Yeah.
And me going, I don't have the patience or the ability to do that. But yes, in this world that we're in right now, we have to take a stance against people that don't want to have a democracy. I guess like they want literally authoritarian rule, which we're seeing now. They want to see, unless you look like us or you think like us, you're not welcome. And that is so ass backwards in what we consider America, which is a freaking the e pluribus unum stands from out of many one. Like it is it's literally describing a melting pot.
Yeah.
Where you throw everything, all different races and cultures and religions and all types of people, and we form one. We form one nation with all of those ingredients. However, they are going to the point where they only want one simple ass ingredient.
Yeah.
And that is unacceptable. We cannot have that.
No, and they want two things, I think. They want to stop the natural evolution of society where you do start to look different. You start, that melting pot starts to come into, clearer view, because this is how all societies go. So they know that that's inevitable, that they're hurtling towards their own fragile hold on, white male cisgendered control. And so they want to unnaturally dam that river, right? So that's where we see these extreme measures to stop that. But they also want to drag us back in time simultaneously, to the point where, I don't know if you saw this, but the national parks have removed, artwork and other placards talking about slavery. And Donald Trump has instructed the Smithsonian to have less focus on slavery and more focus on happy accomplishments in American history.
About the history, not like it's like totally discarding like slavery wasn't a part of American history.
Right.
And also triumphing over slavery.
Right.
And fighting for equality. That's all of that is tied into American history. So it would be great to hear the president say, you know what, slavery was horrible and it was a part of our history. But you know what? Let's talk about how we overcame it. So that would be a greit message. Yeah, you know what? Okay, boom.
Right.
And it's not even forgetting about slavery and the bad parts of it. It's making the focus on how we overcame it. And that's by having a unified group of people that believed in rights for everybody. However, this administration doesn't believe in rights for everybody. So that's why it makes sense for him to not just, hey, we're focusing on the bad parts. And that's fine. Listen, I'm okay with let's talk about how we overcame it. But talking about how we overcome it, it defeats his message and his agenda of what he wants, and that's taking this country backwards into a time and place where the only people that mattered were white men who owned land. It wasn't even just white men,
right?
but the white men who owned land,
right?
So like a lot of people, like it's so funny, like when you talk about the people, his buddies are not just white Christian men. It's white Christian men who can actually do something for him, who have money. So that's why you saw Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg and all these other CEOs and billionaires sitting with him on the dais in his inauguration. It's about people that can actually do something. It's not just about a race. Now, yes, that plays a part into it.
Yeah.
But it's people that actually have money, and then back in the day, obviously owned land and stuff like that. So
right, and he wants those white rich men to be the heroes of the American story, because that makes him feel more powerful. That makes him feel more, vindicated, validated, whatever. For whatever reasons, we could talk about the psychology of Donald Trump all day long. But like, he wants to rewrite American history, recast things that happened in relation to all of our history, the ugliness, because he doesn't want it to the story to ever be that these
we overcame it.
Right. that they were the bad guys at any point, and that they ever did anything bad. And that's not not even the story. The most American story of all is what you just said, is that bad things happened, bad things were done, but we evolved and fought out our way out of it. And now we have all of these stories of triumph. But, they want to whitewash, sane wash, revise history on that level, but they're also doing it right in front of our eyes as it pertains to political violence and January 6th, the reality of January 6th. I mean, it's interesting this week, the last week, watching them try and gaslight the country and the world into believing that it's the left, it's people like me who own Charlie Kirk's murder that I'm celebrating. People like us are celebrating, which, by the way, first of all, no one I actually know went out and publicly said, this was fantastic, I'm so happy. I cried, not because I love Charlie Kirk, but for what it said about America. I learned it like on a live podcast recording. But they're trying to, they are revising the truth of January 6th and turning the reality of who has stoked kind of violence like this on its head. You lived it.
Yeah, no, that's that's what they do. It's like they can. I get so angry and I get so frustrated just talking about it, and they're just fucking hypocrites, man. And that's the thing. We have to stop expecting different for them, and stop like when Donald Trump was just asked about Melissa Hortman. He said, "Who?"
Yeah.
And then he was asked when it happened, "Are you going to call Governor Tim Walz?" For what? No, I'm not going to call him. And so I get so tired of talking about it. I guess that's why I'm getting like flustered right now, because I get tired of having to address the hypocrisy of who they are.
Mm-hmm.
They show us every day who they are, and we continue to get surprised by it. Why are we surprised or appalled by it? These are just who they are. They are liars. They are hypocrites, and it's what's do as I say, not as I do kind of people. That is what they believe in, and that is how they operate. So I get so tired of having to just talk about it over and over. And we've seen it from the times where they say back the blue to I am literally, along with Danny Hodges, am suing the architect of the Capitol to put the damn plaque up to honor the police officers from January 6th. Like, I'm literally in the middle of a lawsuit right now from suing a group of people that says they back the blue.
Yeah.
And I'm suing them to actually back the blue.
Right.
So I get so tired of having to address it or talk about why we're surprised that why are we continually surprised by these people lying and being hypocrites? And to talk about Charlie Kirk, you're right. I don't know anybody personally who was celebrating him. I know a lot of people who were indifferent.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who didn't show any empathy or just didn't care.
Yes.
They just went, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Now, listen, the people mourn differently. People mourn different. I don't encourage celebrating anybody's death.
Right.
But I'm also not in the in the business of policing people's feelings either. A lot of people handle grief differently. I talked about on my show, Joe, when I said, listen, I had coworkers who were there on January 6th, who were fighting, who took physical trauma, abuse, and were physically attacked, who came back to work on January 7th like nothing happened. It was just a normal day. But I also know some people who took their lives in a response to it. And every different, and you know what? And the people who didn't feel a certain way, who didn't feel bad, that's fine. I'm not going to police them for not being as angry or as outraged as I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
But people handle stuff differently, but I agree that I don't believe in celebrating. I think that's wrong. But at the same time, like I said, I don't know anybody. I mean, did I see some memes making fun of them? Sure. Did I share them? No. Did I like them? No.
Right.
And I won't. But there were people out there like making light of the situation. But as far as like celebrating, I didn't see much of that.
And it's ironic to me that if somebody chose to do that, which you have every right, and I have every right to disagree with their choice to do it, what Charlie Kirk died doing, what they say right was wrong, which it is, that he was killed for, was exercising his right to free speech peacefully. Yeah. Right? So
he totally was.
So for somebody to exercise their right to free speech peacefully, to choose to say, I want to mock this murder, I want to spread it, I want to share a meme, I want to make light of it, that's their choice. That's their right. But instead, and I don't have to defend it, and I'm not going to defend it. The only thing I will defend is their right to do it, because Charlie Kirk himself said there was no such thing as hate speech. Now, you could disagree with that all day long, but he did say it, and he was murdered for using his right to free speech. And so now what they're doing is they're arresting, and they're asking people to turn. They're arresting, they're firing, they're asking people to turn in their coworkers, their colleagues, their neighbors, their friends for posts that they made that mock what happened to Charlie Kirk, or that make light of what happened to Charlie Kirk. But what happened to free speech? That doesn't sound like free speech. That sounds like convenient speech to me.
That's exactly, what it sounds like. And Pam Bondi, when she talked about we're coming after people that have done that just goes to the hypocrisy of it. Listen, I don't mind living in a world where hate speech doesn't exist. I don't mind living, but we live in a world where free speech does exist. So those are like the rules. Like if people are out there using hate speech, I probably won't associate with people like that.
Yeah.
I'm not allowing that type of negativity around me. I don't want that. But we live in a world where it does exist. Now, like I said, personally, if we lived in a world where hate speech didn't exist, I'm fine with that too.
Yeah.
But that's not the law of the land.
You can't have it both ways.
I was going to say, listen, words have consequences. However, that consequence should never result in you losing your life. But it is what it is, and it's as far as like people like losing their jobs and everything like that. That's listen. I get it. Like I don't ever want to be accused of being a hypocrite too. But if we live in a world where there's a free speech thing, then you're allowed to say what you're going to say. But if people are making statements that go against employers, employers have the right to hire people that they believe align with their benefits. That's the world that we live in right now. So that's why I always tell people to be careful what you say.
Yeah.
And like how I've said, Joe, I say everything I say as it's being. I imagine it's being broadcast live to the world to see.
Yeah.
So, but people need to be careful about the things that they say and how that they say it. Even though we live in a world where you're allowed to say this, now arresting, that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Because it's free speech, right?
Right.
But free speech does not guarantee you the right to be employed too. You have to be careful and responsible because you are representing a company, a brand, or something like that too. So I don't want to be hypocritical in saying that these people shouldn't be fired. They should not be prosecuted. They should not be arrested. They shouldn't be targeted because they have the right to do it. But some companies also have the right to employ people that align or don't align with their values, so to speak.
What's ironic to me is that the standard for, for private health, right? The standard for a company is much higher. We saw this
much higher,
right? Because like even the Access Hollywood tape, Billy Bush was fired temporarily,
and Donald Trump was elected president.
Right. So we have the most divisive president in the history of our country.
Yeah.
Someone who literally incited a grotesquely evil, violent attack against people like you who were defending the very people who returned him to that office. And they're the ones now saying there is no place in this country for the violent rhetoric that is coming from the left. It's just the hypocrisy is like, it blows your mind. Sometimes I think like, are we being punked? Is Ashton Kutcher around the corner? Like,
is this a joke? Yeah.
But before, like, I have
you're so right. The bar is higher for certain people than it. I get the frustration that people experience with that. Like, it's I saw a meme and this I'm trying to remember because it was a while ago, and it was when Roseanne got fired off the show or something, and somebody said, in Roseanne's defense, it's hard to know what type of racism will get you fired and which type of racism will get you elected president. So it's kind of like,
right? Like this is kind of where we are. But I before I will close because I got to go pick my kids up from school. Let's talk about the first episode of Pores and Perspectives and what you want to do with the show. I mean, we talked about it in the beginning, but what was the first episode like? And guests, that sort of thing.
Well, so I plan on having guests. Now, listen, it is hard to shout out to the people that are able to do shows or they're like with just them and just talking.
It's hard.
And it's a lot and it's difficult. And kudos. Like I when I was doing it afterwards, I just thought about Rachel Maddow and how she like gives her little like monologue at the beginning. Now, granted, like she has writers and stuff like that. And like a lot of those thoughts are her own.
Yeah.
Or people like on the Daily Show when you have Jon Stewart just talking and just they're so good at it.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to do so. So I plan on having my show probably about a half an hour, once a week at least, starting right out. But definitely want to have guests on and have discussions and talk about important topics and get their perspectives about it. I want to talk to some of my conservative friends and actually ask them what makes them conservative versus you have like a lot of my conservative friends do have a lot of liberal friends. Like, what do y'all actually disagree on? Is there really a difference, or is this something that has been implemented to divide us even further? But just getting down to the deep, talking about current events, everything. I have the opportunity working at the Capitol over 16 years to meet a lot of people, elected officials, senators, congressmen, men and women, and just be able to have special guests on there. And even just the average Joe, and just listen to people's experience. I like having conversations that can actually foment or create understanding and clarity going forward. So that's going to be the aim of the show, and obviously while enjoying it over a nice spirit or two. So
I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm so excited. The minute you came up with the name and the whole theme of it, I was like, holy shit, that's amazing. Because I think so many times that people are really tired of it just being perpetually and unrelentingly political, which I know I do that. A lot of my content, this conversation was a nice sort of aberration in many ways from that.
Yeah.
But we all need a little bit of a break from that.
But we can apply a lot of that to our political conversations that we have with people. We can apply a lot of the just everyday average conversations, like like you said, talking about groceries or talking about our children and stuff like that. A lot of that applies to the world that is happening right now.
Yeah. I want to talk about fantasy football. Not now, but I left 40 points sitting on my bench and I lost by.
That is the worst feeling when you're like, damn it! If only I would have started.
I mean, I do all the research and I look at the projected totals and I try and do the matchup. I lost to Chris Mowry by 7 points. I was like, are you kidding me? Because it's me and a bunch of Gen Z kids. It's just I'm the old lady. But yeah, I want these are real conversations have to happen because we need to connect to each other in real substantive ways. And so I'm excited for Pores and Perspectives. It's the first episode is out now, guys, on the Siren Network.
Right.
Harry Dunn, thank you as always for your time, for your perspective, for your energy, for your heart, for your authenticity, for being, who you are. So that one.
Thank you. I appreciate you, my friend. And anytime you need me, I'm here for you.
Love it. Thank you so much. If listening to Harry today has gotten you fired up, use that energy. Check out his new show on the Siren Network at thesirennetwork.com. Harry's show is called Pores and Perspectives. Our democracy survives because people like Harry Dunn will not back down. Until next time, stay sharp, stay vocal, and stay sane-ish.